Okay, Fran decided to sit this exercise out to give me a shot to have some fun and interact with everybody for about 15, 20 minutes or so. And to keep on time, because I only have 20 minutes to talk, and those of you that know me know that I can go ahead and rattle on for 45 minutes to an hour or more. I'm going to go ahead and rely heavily on my notes. I'm going to try not to read them, but I do want to go ahead and use these notes because there's lots of points that I want to make. So right now I want to welcome you to my beautiful home in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. It's a place that we came to fall in love with, and after experimenting for some time, about 10 months in the Central Valley, did a little bit more looking around and found out that Guanacaste turned out to be pretty darn good for us. So, with that in mind, let's go to slide number 2. As I was preparing this presentation, I wanted to, I was very, very much concerned about what kind of things, if I was in your position, what would I want to know about my province, where I live in Guanacaste. And to be honest, seeing a bunch of PowerPoint charts, slides, these things would just totally blur anybody's mind. And so if you're looking for facts, figures, demographic data, marketing hype that's going to extol all the virtues of Costa Rica, this is where you should go. Because, go ahead, you can find anything you want at any time of the day just by going ahead and Googling it, and you're going to learn an awful lot about that. So that's my big suggestion. Now, what you're not going to get from me today are all the facts, figures, numbers, and demographics and stats. So what I plan to talk about is my perspective, having been or being a resident in Guanacaste. I'm going to give you my perspective on what I think the region and the province is all about. We're going to be talking in this presentation about geography and weather, general infrastructure of the area, crime, personal safety, healthcare, real estate, shopping, and entertainment. I think that should pretty much cover at least most of the heavy-duty items that will give you a fair idea of where, whether or not something like that might be for you. I want to start off by clearing up one major misconception. I get emails from people, I talk to people online all the time, and people think, despite what you hear, Costa Rica is not an island. Now, I hear it all the time, what's it like living on the island of Costa Rica? Well, first off, I'd like to say that we are bordered on the north by Nicaragua, bordered on the south by Panama, so by definition of what an island is, we ain't an island. So that's the one good thing. Now, the other thing that really makes living in Costa Rica pretty nice, and especially in Guanacaste, is that we're only a 45-minute run to the Nicaraguan border. So if you do not have your residency, it's a very easy, quick trip. Cross the border, get some lunch, buy some duty-free booze, come on back, and you're good to go. So then you got another 90 days in front of you. Guanacaste is one of 7 provinces, and I think I heard it mentioned yesterday. Provinces in Costa Rica are essentially the same thing as what we refer to in the States as states. So Guanacaste is in the upper northwest portion of the country. We are situated between a string of volcanoes on the east and the Pacific Ocean on the west. And what this does is it offers us a perfect blend of both warm temperatures and the lowest humidity in all of Costa Rica. That, in fact, we have more sunshiny days in Guanacaste than any place else in the country. I think we saw some maps some of the other speakers were showing yesterday, and there's the bright yellow area right up in the northwest portion of the country. That's us. We have less rain, less fog, we have no fog, less rain and less humidity of any other place in the country. So from our perspective, that really is a major plus. The more populated areas of Guanacaste are, of course, the beach areas. And here, there is something for everyone. Looking at if you want exciting nightlife, you got Playa Coco, Tamarindo. These are really awesome places to go to, and you can party till whenever. If you're a surfing fanatic, head down towards Samara. If you are a yoga enthusiast, and I think Ben's going to talk to you about this later, Nosara is like the mecca for yoga enthusiasts throughout all of Costa Rica. And fishing, if you like fishing, anywhere along the coast is great, whether you go inland fishing or you're going deep sea fishing. Now, as for us, we've selected Playa Hermosa. And Playa Hermosa is the place where we'd like to rest our heads. We've got the serenity of living in a small community But we're only a 10-minute drive from Playa Coco. So if we want to go ahead and raise hell at night and see the bars and get some restaurants, we're a 10-minute drive away and a 10-minute taxi ride back home. However, while tourists flock to our beaches year-round to take advantage of the absolute perfect weather we have, and by the way, this is the beach that I get to go to every morning, our local communities suffer when the drought sets in, and this happens every single year. What is normally during the wet season, beautiful green, millions of shades of green, comes to dry season, things turn brown, fields catch on fire, but that's the norm. That's the way things are, and we come to accept it, and so does everybody else. Guanacaste is experiencing, I hit the wrong button. Here we go. Guanacaste is experiencing right now a rebirth. Now, if you remember the movie Field of Dreams, there's a famous line in there that says, if you build it, they will come. And throughout the 70s and 80s, Costa Rica has come to realize that this, well, let me, there we go. Well, I couldn't read it. Okay, Guanacaste has remained somewhat stagnant over this period of time. But in 1975, Liberia Airport was built. The Liberia Airport offered visitors a second opportunity to go ahead and land in a different part of the country. Now, in October of '95, 20 years later, the airport underwent a major overhaul, lengthening runways. They put the lights on the runway, which was really interesting. And we were designated as an international hub at that point. So in October '95, all of a sudden, the world started hearing more about Guanacaste because of the Liberia Airport. And I'm really, really happy to say that in about a month, right around the first week of October, we have a multi-million-dollar terminal that is getting ready to open. So those of you that have ever landed in Liberia, you know that they push the carts, the stairs out to the plane. You got to walk down the stairs into the terminal, and when it's raining, you welcome to Costa Rica. You get soaking wet. So now, just like a real airport, you're going to be able to get off on a jetway, go right in, and everything is going to be automated, and it's really going to be very, very slick. This is really only the first of several indicators that will give people an indication that Guanacaste really is on an upward and mobile trend. Again, right near our house, there is Hospital SEMA is going to be opening, probably right before Thanksgiving time, a new $30 million medical complex. This is going to be situated roughly 15 minutes between the airport and the beaches of Playa del Coco. And it doesn't stop there. Clinica Biblica is also going to be opening a multi-million-dollar facility. Don't have exact dates on that yet, but they're going through. I was talking to some Biblica reps here the other day, and they've got to get the permissions all worked out. Groundbreaking maybe in about a year and a half, más o menos, and then maybe in about 3 years. But this is going to be a huge complex with hospital, golf courses, retirement communities, everything built in. And again, this is going to be right here in Guanacaste. So as you can see, where we're going right now, Guanacaste appears to be very much on a very positive and progressive note. Now, the majority of gringos living abroad, that's us, we demand our creature comforts. Our roads have to be wide, smooth, uncongested. Electric water must be clean and constant. The internet has to be blazingly fast and without interruption. And your television service, gosh, if we're not getting 10,000 channels in HD, 3D, all kinds of surround sound stuff, we're going to be pissing and moaning. So, the good news is, we've got all of that in Costa Rica, to a certain extent. As far as the roads concerned, I can tell you that yes, we absolutely, positively have roads. But they may not be what you expect. They'll get you from point A to point B. We're about 20–30% of the roads in the country are paved. Guanacaste, I'm happy to say, most of the roads are paved, but they develop potholes every couple of weeks, so they're in a constant state of repair. Electric services. Electric services are extremely consistent and with a surprisingly high degree of uptime. But if your expectations demand 100% uptime all the time, you need to go ahead and plan for a contingency. That means backup water supplies and backup electric generators. That's just a statement of fact. Depending on where you are in Guanacaste, the internet is going to be a hit or miss situation. Don't expect the same kind of performance that you have back in the States. Best you're going to get around here is going to be 1 meg to 4 meg download through DSL cable systems. So it's not going to be this 10, 20 gig megabyte stuff that you got back in the States, but it's going to be plenty if you want to go ahead and do your basic internet surfing, emailing, Skype, Magic Jack, or downloading and watching streaming video with Netflix. All that stuff really, really works great on most connections that you're going to have here. And I'm also extremely pleased to tell you that cell phone service throughout almost all of Costa Rica, and especially Guanacaste, is rock solid. So it's you got good 3G service throughout all of our area, but it's not going to be the same kind of stuff that you've got back in the States. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles that we're used to. The good news is I'm paying $7 a month for my cell service, and I can speak for, I don't know, a couple of hours, and I'm good to go, so I'm really not going to be complaining either. Now, recently, I just got my 10-minute warning here. Okay, here we go. Recently, a few headlines have come to pass and talking about the crime rate in Costa Rica. Oh my God, everything's going to hell. The crime is just going crazy. And that's really not the case. A lot of that stuff does get quite overblown. But we should be concerned for our personal safety, and we need to apply common sense to what we do. Now, this isn't necessarily Guanacaste related, it's just good common sense for everything. But petty crime is always going to be with us. We need to go ahead and when you're in a touristy area, and especially like Guanacaste, we need to have a couple of tips that we need to follow so we're not going to get ourselves in trouble. First off, don't act and dress like a tourist. Leave your bling at home. Keep your personal possessions in sight at all times. Don't be sitting in a restaurant, put your cell phone on the table, talk to somebody else because it may be gone. Don't leave any valuables visible in your car. And for gosh sakes, learn to speak a little bit of Spanish. It really goes a long way in helping your safety and security while in country. Home burglaries. Home burglaries are also on the rise up here. Primarily, it's because the cops in San Jose are chasing the crooks out. And where are they going? They're going to the burbs, and they're coming out, even out to us, out in Guanacaste. So you got to do some things that will go ahead and, again, make yourself a little bit more secure. Lock your house. Get a house sitter if you're going to be gone for a couple of days. I got my buddy sitting over at my house right now, so he's taking care of my dogs, etc. And things are working out quite nicely. Get a dog, especially one that likes to bark at shadows. Anything that works because it'll help keep the crooks away. When you leave, turn on your TV set, put it on the Spanish channel, and people will think that somebody's home. Bottom line is, be prudent and be cautious, and you're going to find yourself that things are going to be a lot better. One tip, you can't rely on the cops. We don't have, the cops around here don't go ahead and do preventative type protection. They're more in a reactive capacity. There's not enough cops to go ahead to really go around, so you need to take care of yourself about things like that. Now, healthcare. Let's go ahead and slam through this one. If you are a legal resident in Costa Rica, you are obligated to go ahead and become a member of the CAHA. Now, this is our national health care system. We've got clinics, laboratories, pharmacies throughout the entire country in most major cities. There's also 3 CAHA hospitals located within Guanacaste, one up north in Upala, one in where we live near in Liberia, and the southern one down in Nicoya. All provide, I don't know whether they're the equivalent of level 1 trauma, but they all have 24/7 ERs and are capable of getting the job done. The CAHA system does work, and it's quite good, but with some limitations. And I want to make this point clear. Some of the critics of CAHA cite long lead times to get appointments, inefficient processes, and inconsistent quality of delivered services. But that's a matter of fact with almost any kind of a public kind of a deliverable. Your second option is going to be through the private healthcare delivery system. Private doctors, laboratories, and hospitals. And again, this is becoming more prominent throughout Guanacaste. Private doctors are all over the place. And as I said earlier, we are getting our first private hospital, which is going to be the new SEMA, right in just a little bit east of Playa Coco. And that's going to be looking at the Thanksgiving time for that opening. And the reason why gringos favor this kind of healthcare delivery system is because it more resembles what we're used to seeing in North America. And there's that good, nice, warm, and fuzzy. So people do have a tendency of glomming towards that solution. And lastly, For things like belly aches, colds, even getting a few stitches, we've got outpatient clinics that provide excellent treatment for very, very low fees. And in addition, here's something that a lot of people don't realize, and that is the pharmacy system, the farmacias located all throughout Costa Rica. The pharmacists that work in there, many of them are what we would equate in the United States as to a physician's assistant. They call them doctors here, but they're not really doctors, but they are capable of prescribing medicines, treating simple problems, and I'd like to say, they kind of get you off the toilet and back on the road again. These guys, if you got a problem, you don't have to worry about going to a doctor or something like that. Look for a farmacia. Go in there, tell them that you're not feeling very well. Even if you can't speak Spanish, do something like, something like that. You'll communicate with them, and they'll get the right meds to you, and you'll be on your way. Okay, this is perhaps the most difficult part of the presentation that I wanted to go ahead and cover. I wanted to cite facts and figures to demonstrate the real estate trends and where things are going within Costa Rica, especially within Guanacaste. But what I'm telling you now is I could not find a lot of that information. A lot of it's not available, and especially I searched the internet, or the information is flat out not in books. So what I'm telling you now is information that I've learned over the last 2 years living up in Guanacaste and interacting with scores of friends of mine, real estate agents, lawyers, you name it. Real estate right now within Guanacaste is in a slump. 40 to 50%, the prices people are selling houses for right now are 40 to 50% off of where they were just 2 to 3 years ago. This is an absolute fact. House sales in Guanacaste are taking between 9 to 12 months. So again, easy to buy, hard to sell. And when the houses do sell, they're generally selling for about 10% to 20% under what they're being listed for. So, and here's where I'm going to really get in trouble, I'm sure. But from where I stand, the only people who are really bullish on the Guanacaste real estate market are those that are playing in that sandbox. And that, to me, is what I have seen. If you're out there trying to sell a house, if you're trying to buy a house, you're getting some you're seeing the facts the way they're being presented. Friends of mine who are real estate agents, they're giving me all kinds of great information, and they're telling me just how great it is. I can't see it, but maybe, again, it's a matter of doing your due diligence and getting the right information. Now, what makes Guanacaste so appealing is our proximity to some of the best beaches in the world. Your highest costs are going to come from houses that have the spectacular views, or places that are able to go ahead and walk out your back door and walk right out to the ocean. The farther away you get from these two types of features, the less you're going to pay for your house. Now, in my area, where I live in Playa Hermosa, $1 million price tag or more is going to get you a jaw-dropping 3,000 square foot house with a view that will be absolutely spectacular. 5 minutes from that house, you're going to find a 1,500 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath house that's going to sell for $200,000. Both places are great to live in, depends on what you want to spend. Now, the other thing is, both of these houses are available for rent. And the thing is, if you can't sell it, the owners want to go ahead and rent it. The multi-million-dollar house, yeah, that's going to go for $1,500, $2,000 a month. The other house is going to rent for about $650 a month. There's other things that you can do, such as small casitas, which are generally single-bedroom houses. In this case, this house is right at the end of my block, and for $600 a month, you get this 1-bedroom casita. It includes electric, fully loaded, air conditioning, and it's just a wonderful place to stay, especially if it's going to be for a short period of time until you can find something a little bit more permanent. Now, there's other possibilities. You can spend a little bit more money. Here's a house in Playa Hermosa, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, costs $1,000 a month, and it's got a pool. So, and this place also is about a 5-minute walk to the beach. Now, if you're looking for great shopping, U.S. mall type quality shopping in Guanacaste, you're not going to find it. We don't have the malls. If you want that, you got to come here to Escazú or Santana to find those really big Americanized type malls. But if you're looking for the food services, for instance, throughout our area, we have got phenomenal food stores ranging from the lower end Tico all the way up to the full end Automercado type stores that offer everything imaginable. Or you can go ahead and go to the local ferias and buy your fresh fruits and vegetables. In my case, I got a guy by the name of Henry that comes up to my house once a week, Friday mornings at 7 o'clock with a truck, and he is selling me all the vegetables and fruits that I can use. We are fueled by tourism in this country. Water sports can be had in every imaginable configuration, and they're available 365 days a year. If you're inclined for adventurous sports, we've got that too. You've got zip lining, parasailing, whitewater rafting, and we've got some awesome world-class surfing as well. Don't overlook going out and just getting out and hoofing it around and exploring the areas from all the national parks we have, etc. If you're a golfer, golfers are loving the area because we've got 4 pro-level golf courses that are out. The Four Seasons, Papagayo Country Club, Reserva Conchal, Hacienda Panilla, all great, mostly par 72 golf courses. And let's see, we got Coco and Tamarindo. Again, like I said, if you're in it for the wild times and experiences and 24/7 bars. Now, okay, here we go. Almost at the end. I know I'm getting real close and I'm stopping everybody from getting their lunch, but just give me another couple of minutes. And then again, if you're like Fran or myself, we like to wake up in the morning and take walks on the beach about 7 o'clock because we're 5 minutes from the beach. And at the end of the day, we just kind of hang out with a box of wine. Yes, a box of wine. And we'll go ahead and sit out there and catch a sunset, and it's just absolutely fun. There is something for everybody in Guanacaste. Now, if you saw, well, most of you did see our presentation the other day, and I kind of made a couple of mistakes. My wife kind of pulled me a little bit, got us back on track, and she saved me from mangling our presentation, but I still managed to mangle one thing. I forgot to go ahead and add one thing at the very end, and it's important that I go ahead and do it, and it's called the shameless plug. Again, I'm not here selling anything. I didn't come to Costa Rica to work. I came to Costa Rica to enjoy the rest of my life and have a kick-ass time, and that's what I plan on doing. But when I moved here, we decided to chronicle our lives from the investigative standpoint, from before we left North Carolina until we got here. And to do that, we wanted to go ahead and communicate the best way we can, and we did it through a website. Our website is called boomersoffshore.com, and on this website, we produce videos. I've got about 80 videos that are online right now that tell everything from our investigative tours when we started, all the way through moving here, through how to pack a container, what kind of tape to use. Fran did a fantastic video on what a Tico washing machine is. If any of you have seen that video, it's really very, very hilarious. And within these 80 videos, most of them run 6 minutes, 7 minutes apiece. They give you a really good idea of what our life experiences have been here. We also produce a monthly newsletter, or almost monthly newsletter, whenever we can get inspired. And in it, there's articles that we've written about tips, things you can look out for, recipes that we've tried that work, and we're also starting to get articles from other expats who've moved in here and talking about their experiences. So, please write down this URL. If you can't remember it, I've got a card I'll give to you later, but boomersoffshore.com. And if you want to get our periodic emails from us, which again don't sell anything but notify you when there's new videos online or new newsletters, there's a little button on there that says subscribe. Give me your name, email address, and I'll put you on our email list. Okay, I hope that I've given you some food for thought. And speaking of food for thought, right? It's time to get the heck out of here and grab some lunch. So I do want to thank you very much, and that's it.